Welcome back, Rita. Good to see you again. Good morning, Rob. Let's take another couple minutes here to settle in. Maybe that's taking our last sip of our tea or coffee, stretching the shoulders and the neck, finding some movement that might support you as you arrive into your posture, and checking in with the body, getting curious about what the body might need from you today to be at ease and relax. Maybe that's adding another pillow to your back, or maybe it's to stand or to lie down, giving yourself permission to change posture if that becomes supportive for you throughout this 30 minutes of sitting. And as we arrive and settle, notice if there's any subtle changes you can make to how you sit. Maybe the spine is slightly arched forward, a natural curve. Maybe it's the chin tucked towards the chest that feels more comfortable for the neck and shoulders. You can add a pillow to the front side so your hands have something to rest on if that can relieve some of the weight from the shoulders and neck. And the spine is straight, but not uptight. And the shoulders relaxed. The belly is soft, making sure that there's nothing constricting the area around your belly. So let us begin, dear friends, by taking that intentional breath, breathing in and out, awareness of the in breath and out breath. And notice the flow of the breath coming in through the nostrils. And notice the warm air flowing out of the nostrils. Notice the breath passing through the belly and filling up the belly with air. Notice the rise and fall of the chest and the belly expanding and contracting. There's a body sitting here And there's a body breathing. There's a body in this room, allowing the sounds in the space and outside to bring you back to the present moment. Perhaps it's the sound of your breath that calls you home. And we close our sense doors to the outside world, turning our attention inward. Awareness of the inflow and outflow of the breath, getting in touch with what it feels like to be breathing. And maybe this comfortable and healthy breath is a deep and long breath, or maybe it's a short and strong breath. You can breathe this way for as long as it feels supportive, soothing and calming the nervous system, tranquilizing the body and mind. What is available to you now? What is available to bring forth this state of alertness, wakefulness, and deep relaxation. Each moment, discerning and balancing your energy to be gentle and kind to whatever is arising and passing away in the field of body or mind, and also to bring forth this strong determination in that moment of remembering that you've been lost in thoughts or you've wandered off. There is that effort to make the U-turn back, to set down the preoccupation of mind, to set down the stories, to loosen the grip and let go, to grant yourself that freedom from attachment, returning home to your anchor, And maybe it's time to hone in on an anchor that is even more subtle. Perhaps this is the breath in any area where you feel the breath most predominantly. Increasing sensitivity, heightened awareness to the breath, noting the quality of the breath. Is the breath long or short, shallow or deep? Is it to breathe a little bit harder, to stay in touch with the breath? Or is it to simply let go of any effort of breathing, allowing the breath to become subtle and natural? You're always at choice. Where is your awareness? What is awareness in touch of? Allowing whatever is coming up to the surface to be seen, to be felt. Engaging with each present moment experience, and at the same time unattached. Letting go of the analytical mind, the judging mind, and feeling into the experience of each moment, touching it, and then letting it go. I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. I am solid. I am free. I am solid. I am free. In the ultimate I dwell. In the ultimate I dwell. I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. I am solid. I am free. I am solid. I am free. In the ultimate I dwell. In the ultimate I dwell. Dear friends, I'd like to share with you two words in Pali, the language that some of the first texts and teachings of the Buddha was written in the Pali language, Pali Sanskrit language. And these two words are the type of meditations that we are training in. And essentially, when we are practicing, particularly in this space, the two things that we are working on is one, to develop our concentration by tranquilizing the body and mind, by bringing the mind to rest so that we can focus and be in one place. And the other practice that we undertake is to have this awareness, this simple and clear awareness of what is happening in each moment. And this process is known as Samatha Vipassana. Samatha is the practice of serenity. And I'd like to share with you what my teacher, our beloved teacher, the Zen master, the Vietnamese Zen master, Thich Nhat Hanh says about Samatha. And Vipassana means clear seeing or insight. And both of these are needed to have a fruitful and deep meditation. And one can, in order to arrive at Vipassana, Samatha is needed. We first must calm our nervous system, calm the body and the mind, allow the body to fall into a deep, relaxed state. And when the body is relaxed, the mind follows. When the mind is calm, the body also follows. And only from this place can insight, can these profound realization be seen clearly. And I'll read here from our teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh. Meditation is the act of stopping and looking. We have to learn the art of stopping and the art of looking. And Samatha means stopping. Vipassana means looking deeply. If you stop well. And if you look well. Stopping is an art, stopping in order to give your body and your mind a chance to heal. Because our mind has the capacity of healing itself. And our body also has the capacity to heal itself if we allow it, if we give it time and space and acknowledge our body, it will be able to heal itself. But normally we don't know how to stop. We don't know how to give our body a chance, so our body cannot heal itself. Our mind, too, is kind of body. It's a spiritual body. Our mind has the capacity of healing itself. But if the mind does not heal itself, it's because we have not given it a chance. That is why you have to learn the deep art of stopping. Samatha. Samatha is stopping. To stop in order for calm, for concentration, for tranquility to arise within. So just imagine like a river reflecting the full moon. You might see that in these nights. The river must be calm in order to reflect the full moon. If the river or the body of water or the ocean is full of waves, if it is too turbulent, then it can never reflect the beautiful image of the moon. So, our body, if it is not calm, if it is not restful, then it will not be able to restore itself nor to heal itself. So, just like an animal, when it's wounded because of a hunter or because of some accident, the animal in the jungle will find a calm place to lie down. That is the practice that the animals instinctively know. And the animal will lie down and stay there, remain very quiet, not eating anything, not going out to hunt until that wound is healed. Because the animal knows if it continues to look for something to eat, to conquer, to prey on, then its body will not have a chance to rest and restore itself. So, looking at the animal, we already see the wisdom that's there in practicing stopping and resting and calming. If the animals can do it, so can we. And so we might ask ourselves, do I really need to consume all the time? Do I really need to consume every day? Consuming through our five senses or six senses: seeing, hearing, taste, touch, and mind, smelling and mind. Consuming through these six senses. Do I really need to consume all the time? By fasting, by not doing anything, by abandoning all the projects, all the to-do lists, all the desires, all the wanting, all the winning, by abandoning, by not doing anything, we allow our body to rest, to renew itself. And each day that we come to practice, we are restoring and renewing ourselves on another level, on a spiritual level, on a subtle level. And this is the practice of Samatha, the practice of stopping, the practice of serenity, of rest, and of tranquility. And Vipassana is that practice of looking deeply, the capacity to see things clearly, to see things as they really are, the nature of our mind, the nature of our stress and suffering, the nature of being human. And to look deeply to see the truth that all spiritual traditions point at, and to know and experience it deep within. Samatha, Vipassana. I'll put these words in the chat. And in each moment of your practice, whether it is on the cushion or off the cushion, you can identify and recognize what practice is appropriate in this moment. And to practice Vipassana, we must practice Samatha as well. One cannot exist without the other. And we can practice Samatha just to calm ourselves down, but to realize this profound wisdom and understanding, we must look deeply. And so Vipassana is what gives rise to awakening, to full liberation. And when we have that aha moment, we are forever changed. Something shifts within us down to our very bones, while our external environment remains the same. Some transformation occurs deep within with Vipassana practice. Vipassana practices can be more fully uh, realized or successful in an environment where we practice for long periods of time, whether that's going to a retreat or sitting for maybe an hour a day, or walking or standing, and practicing with consistency and continuity, so that that water, that pool of water, that river, that ocean is so still for a long period of time that anything that is reflected in that body of water is revealed, is made known and seen very clearly. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to share with you these two words for your own study and curiosity. Just practice in this tradition, in this space that we share every day, whether you're aware of it or not. A lot of the mindfulness practices that are mainstream are rooted in first samatha, and to reach a greater depth of our practice, to go further, the Vipassana practice is where we really tap into that wisdom, that deeper level of consciousness, or beyond consciousness, rather. Touching into the deathless. That's another word that you might grapple with. Touching into that place of no mind, no me, no my, no I. There is just pure awareness. What's coming up for you as we reflect and look at these two methods of meditation? Any questions or comments?
Thank you very much. This was really awesome. Um, Brought a lot of clarity. I was curious about um, the idea of surrender and where surrender shows up in this, particularly with samatha, um, and the idea of like, is surrender a part of this? Is surrender, what do you think about surrender?
Mhm. Yeah, that's a great word. Hmm. In the first part of Samatha, surrender is us being able to let go of how we hold our bodies. There is a process, an act of surrendering to our posture, right? Of surrendering from those thoughts, those habit patterns in the mind. Surrender. Think of surrendering as like a setting down or a letting go. That mental and physical act of dropping whatever we've been holding on to. Surrendering from movement, some of our tendency of being finicky, and so that process, that action of surrendering is very much needed in samatha to calm and to get to that place of resting. We need to let go of that busyness in the body. I mean, this whole practice is about surrendering and letting go. So, first, we do it on a gross level of body and mind, surrendering, letting go, setting down. And then in the second part, in Vipassana, there we are now on a more subtle level, also practicing surrendering. And I'll use other words here as synonyms like relinquishing, extinguishing certain states of mind that are not conducive. So we have to first recognize that these states of mind are obstructions or hindrances for us to be able to be free from distraction. And in Vipassana, there is a subtle letting go of our attachments, of what the mind clings to, even in that place. So, the first part of our practice is surrendering from unwholesome thoughts. And then, in the second part, when we get into a very still, subtle state, the mind now is inclined towards wholesome thoughts and good deeds, happy thoughts, joyful thoughts. And even there, to arrive at this clarity of mind, this clairvoyance, another word in spirit tradition that's used, um, is surrendering even the wholesome thoughts, the wholesome states of mind. That is of joy, that is of bliss, that is of maybe even some of those really good thoughts of doing good in the world. Even that, surrendering that. Yeah, so this really is a practice of surrendering. Thank you for asking the question. Mhm. From beginning to end, until there's nothing left, we are open, we are awareness itself. There is no one trying to control or do or make anything happen. They're just what is. Releasing control. And letting go becomes the only way to freedom. And so when we practice this in our formal sitting, we have some success in letting go, arriving at that freedom, the moment when the discursive mind is no longer running the show, and we are not suffering, and we're not burdened by this body. In that place where all of that falls away, there is this freedom. And when we experience that in our depth of our practice, our meditation practice, we also see how that applies to our life on the physical plane. And we see how the mental and emotional letting go is necessary for our freedom, for our happiness, for our joy, for our peace. So while we practice, it seems like there's a state that we're trying to reach. Ultimately, what that does is has us know how to apply it to our life in the world. So, what we experience in the inner world now, we embody and we carry it in the outer world, the external world. Mm-hmm. Rob asks, can you comment on emptiness and compassion? Mm. Yeah, so emptiness, that could be a whole talk. And the word emptiness is used a lot in the Zen tradition. You don't often hear it in the Theravada tradition, which is a Theravada is a school of Buddhism, which is where I mostly study and practice in. Um, mm, Another word to describe that state when one arrives into that space, that state of emptiness, where mm, I've mentioned the word earlier, the deathless, where there is no me, mine, I, the sense of self, the ego, and the mind, discursive mind drops away. And in that place, in that space, on that plane, everything ceases. And one recognize and awareness comes to see that there is nothing that is substantial. And it's not a word that I can really describe, it's an experience that when you touch into it, because any attempt to describe it will create a concept out of it. And this is where, especially I know in the Zen tradition, there's no speaking of these things. There's just practice, practice, practice. Because as soon as we speak about something or describe it, it can lead us to look for it and try to find it and try to fabricate the experience. Just like jhanas, those subtle level of deep concentration. Compassion is a quality of the heart mind that sees suffering and is in touch with suffering very deeply from that place of non-judgment, from that place of feeling moved by suffering. Oftentimes, people use the word compassion and empathy interchangeably, but to me, there's a clear difference. Empathy is when we try to put ourselves in someone else's shoe and feel what they feel and really go into the depths of their sorrow with them. Compassion is where we can see and recognize suffering, whether it's our own or others, and recognize the truth upon seeing that suffering. And with seeing that suffering and knowing that the root of that suffering, we feel compelled. We feel compelled into action or into, we feel a sense of mm, purpose. Mm, that moves us, that has our eyes open to a deep understanding of how things really are. To me, in the Vipassana practices, when we are seeing things clearly, the quality of compassion is there. To see things clearly, one must be compassionate. That's not missing. Compassion and wisdom are the two wings of insight. The idea of if you talk about it, if you speak about it, the truth is lost, reality is skewed. That resonates in this moment. Mm-hmm.
But I guess to kind of contradict myself in that, I talked about it, so it's lost. Bye bye.
Perhaps the approach, the attitude we can have towards some of these terms are just to remain curious. And in that curiosity, there's a looking, there's a sensing into our experiences, into our practice. It's almost like a let's see, rather than a hunt, a grabbing, trying to grab onto it. I want that now. But it's a settling back and let's see. And so we hold it in the background of our mind. And so when we have some experiences, it's more like a maybe. Is this it? Maybe, maybe, maybe not. Mhm. So holding it loosely. Does anyone else have any comments, questions, or anything you're sitting with that you'd like to just share and reflect and have seen and be heard inside of community?
Good morning, Trina.
Good morning, Charles. I didn't know that was you. Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm in Las Vegas right now.
Ah, you're with your mom.
Yeah, to visit my mom, and I woke up this morning and I noticed my heart rate was in the 80s, and normally it's around 60. And then I noticed that I still have time to get on the call with Trina, and and lo and behold, it went back down to 60. Now it's in the 60s. So I know that practicing mindfully does have an impact. It has an effect on the physical body. And then I was just noticing in my community in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and not just in Milwaukee, but all over, there are a lot of incidents of road rage and people shooting each other over what I would consider minor problems. But with the guns available, that's what we do in our community. And I was just wondering if there was a way to share what you do, to expand on what you do, to I want to package it. I want to harness it and share it with the world. And without taking on another plate for myself. I just want to share. Are you on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
There are talks that are on YouTube, but on another channel right now, and with Portland Insight, and I'm working on um, having these recordings on another YouTube channel that's for Wake Up Together. But it's a process, and I could use a lot of help. So there's a lot of data that needs to be put up and sliced up. Um, and yes, there's that would be possible.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, I'm staying at a friend's house, and he just made me a smoothie.
Oh, sweet.
Huh? Juice? Yeah. Oh, he juiced it. Yeah, green juice. So I'm being well taken care of while I'm here on the left coast. Where's Joshua?
He just came out of a long retreat.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but to answer your question, um, Charles, perhaps that is an inquiry for you and maybe for us and for me to consider how do we, bring this to those communities, how to create the spaces for these practices to be undertaken, right? To be for others to receive this training. I'm currently in a teachers training program with Brown University, an Ivy League school that is training for to teach mindfulness in a in a secular setting. So these very teachings here, but packaged in a way that is for the larger community. And my training right now is focused on Black, Indigenous, people of color communities.
Wow, we should talk. I
Yeah,
work at a school where it's a small partnership school, and it's a lot of the children are showing up with trauma,
uh,
and a number of them have been shot.
I
Uh,
see. Yeah, yeah, I
and
can.
yeah, that's exactly what we need. And I'm thinking if I could share what you're doing
Mhm.
together with a rites of passage program,
Yeah,
it would really make a difference.
yeah, we could talk more about that, Charles, and if you connect with me directly. And this training that I'm undergoing also is heavily based on trauma-sensitive mindfulness.
Oh, perfect.
Mhm.
Wow.
Mhm. Yeah,
Thanks for being there. And
yeah,
I'll be on with you as often as I can.
great. I'm glad that you joined us today and in these past days. Good to see you. Mhm. Mm. Anyone else have anything that you'd like to share? Anyone burning to comment or express something or question even something? Oh, my dear friends, we'll end here and thank you for showing up for yourself first and foremost, for the community, and for me. Your presence and your practice is what shapes this container and what supports one another. When we practice in community, there is this synergy and this collective energy that we get to all benefit from sharing the practice together. So I'm happy you're here, and may we continue to lean in and get curious to what's possible for our life and for the lives around us when we practice stopping and looking deeply. And may we perhaps join forces, or may we, in our own ambition and aspiration, have success in our practice and in sharing this with others. I wish you well on the journey of this day and bowing to the awakened nature within you. Please take care, dear friends. Take care. Good to see you again, Cindy, Francis, and Rob, and Rochelle. Ready for takeoff. 3, 2, 1.